Did you get diagnosed with diabetes?
Yeah.
Was it third grade?
Yeah. And then my doctor just hit me with the news with my mom. He's like, yeah, your son's got like juvenile diabetes or whatever. And the whole time my mom said we could go to Chris's Pancake House afterwards. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to get a ton of syrup on my pancakes. I'm going to drink a big orange juice, stuff like that. It's definitely just being able to like laugh about your insecurities and stuff,
Right.
you know? Like it's not that deep. I mean, that shit can really fucking drag you down if you let it, you know? So you might as well just laugh about it, own it.
You're a Golden Gloves boxer, right?
Yeah. Well, I went to the gym a couple of times in grade school and probably just told everyone I was a fucking prize fighter, you know? That's just what I learned, man, is like everyone's an individual. You're going to have dicks that are white, black, you know, Pacific Islander. But, dude, I was just so, like, I want everyone to get along kind of thing, or I want to be liked, that I was not willing to speak my own opinion on certain topics or whatever. I kind of don't even know what my beliefs are. Because I've had so many conversations with different people and tried to get along with them and, like, agree on things, that there's times I'm like, man, what do I even believe in? You're 25 now. You know, you can't keep using that I'm young thing. Like, I'm drinking, I'm partying, I'm young, I'm missing work, I'm in between jobs. He's like, now you're 25. The past 3-4 years of my life, I forgot more than I could. I was incoherent more than I was coherent, probably.
Following conversation is brought to you by my business, Noble Lore. Noble Lore, what do? We produce podcasts for people. So if you have an existing podcast and you want to grow it, or you want to get started on your own podcast, I am the guy for that. Noble Lore is in the description below if you want to start a podcast. Now, the conversation coming up is with my very good friend of many, many, many years, almost 20 years probably now, Jack Ryan. This conversation is very enlightening for a lot of people. I think a lot of people know him as the guy that jokes around or the goofball a lot of times, but what you're about to see and watch is the Jack that I know probably more so than almost anyone else aside from his own family, which is very thoughtful, very, very self-aware human being that cares deeply about people and cares deeply about the world. So I am so excited to present this to you.
Alrighty, well, we have our first iteration of the Noble Lore podcast here. I've got my very, very good friend Jack Ryan, and we go way back. I mean, back to 6 years old or whatever it is. You know, and then so really the point of this podcast is I want to highlight people that have improved my life, and people that I'm interested in, or people that are interesting. And really we're just getting human stories and human conversations. So, Mr. Jack Ryan, welcome to the pod, baby.
Thanks, man. Feels good to be first guest.
Yes,
I guess
sir.
I can say, right?
Yes,
and,
sir.
Yeah, man, feels good. A little nervous for some reason. I don't know why.
It is weird. It is
I don't
weird.
know why.
We're here at Pop's Blue Moon. Thank you for that to Pop's Blue Moon for hosting us. It's my grandpa's bar. One of the best little dive bars in St. Louis. Maybe, in my opinion, it's definitely biased, but the best dive bar in St. Louis, with some of the most diverse range of music that anyone will find anywhere. Really special place, but cool. So I want to, kind of start off like, how do we know each other? Maybe I'd be curious what you have to describe, and how do you think we became friends, and where do we get our start from?
Dude, I mean, probably nothing too deep to it. I guess I'm talking about it just, growing up together, both pretty good athletes, like playing sports together and stuff like that. I feel like we were always, from the jump, we were always high energy guys.
Mm-hmm.
And like whether I realized it or not as a kid, I think it just draws people to each other, I think we just liked kind of entertaining, telling jokes, maybe being a class clown every now and then. And yeah, dude, I think we were always good friends to each other. Like, again, at that age, you probably don't realize it, but just kind of a loyalty thing, The old, when you're tying your shoe, the guy's still there.
Yeah.
And,
Say that in full. What's that analogy that you use a lot?
Yeah, just something like when you're a kid and, you got to tie your shoes and you're the back of the line. A lot of times, the line leaves without you and you're by yourself and you got to go quick and you got to rush it and everything. But when you know there's that guy with you and someone you can count on to wait for you in the back of the line, it's like, oh, now I can take my time, now, and then maybe you kind of enjoy your own little adventure at the back of the line, So, yeah, you're always that guy. I think as we've grown older and developed our thought processes on things, I think it's just something we both take pride in, and you definitely see in the other guys. Like, this guy's gonna be there, like at a bar if I'm by myself, or if the group leaves or whatever. Yep. It's just that when you're tying your shoe, like, Jack Milliken's always going to be there for me.
And I think tell me what you think. I think that it doesn't seem like most people have that. And when you don't have that, there's such a sense of insecurity as far as needing to attract attention or needing to fit all of these molds to be friends with other people. So you kind of get that feeling like, oh, they won't leave without me. But when you don't have that, you seem fragile almost.
Yeah, dude, 100%, man. And I gotta say, if whoever watched this, people get offended, then I really don't care. But dude, you're outside of my family. You are the only guy that I know is gonna be there for me. You know what I'm saying? And there's been situations where like you're not there, and I'm like, well, I'm on my own. Like there's not that confidence of knowing that regardless wherever this night goes, like I'm always gonna have somebody with me.
Yeah.
And dude, that totally builds your confidence out in like a social scene, like allows you to meet more people because you don't have to rely on the pack kind of thing, And dude, that's why me and you just have like that's why we just have the experiences we have is meeting other people and stuff, because it's just like we're just running that 2-man, we're just running the 2-man. We can run the 2-man, and it's like I don't know, we just don't have to follow the pack, because you got that guy with you.
Yeah, no doubt. And so as far as background goes, it's both left-handed, both born in July, both named Jack. I think those things, as silly as it sounds, like those things probably attracted to us to some degree, but I think at the core of it was our values our value system were similar, being raised by our parents. What were your parents like and raising you? First off,
you don't mind me saying this. I want this to get on camera. Within like last year, I realized I'm not really a true lefty. I just wanted to show that out. I want to throw that out there. Because I do a lot of stuff not left-handed, but I just always claimed left-handed because my dad's a lefty. So I wanted it was a bonding, between my dad and I. Okay, so parents.
Yeah, thanks for the clarification.
had to the fine print. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, I just grew up with great parents. Definitely was like disciplined and just taught the right things as a kid. And then like just fun parents too, which has been probably rubbed off on me as far as just like valuing like a good time,
Yep.
A lot of humor in the household, which not a lot of people have, which is something like growing older. I'm like, man, like my dad in particular, my mom's funny too. My dad is just like, anytime I'm around them, like you're guaranteed to laugh. You're going to have a great time, So that was one of the biggest, looking back on things, like just one of my like most thankful, or one of my just biggest thanks I can give to God, It's just like having like a lot of humor in the house. But yeah, man, I just think they really just knew like the value of discipline and like they just you don't want your kid to grow up and be like a piece of shit.
How do you think your parents disciplined you different from other kids that we grew up around, or
dude, I mean,
people in general?
Just a nice like. It was never anything crazy, just like an occasional swat on the ass or whatever. Like when you do something wrong, like that could be, as you would say, we don't got to go down that rabbit hole, but I think that's important. I don't really think the timeout thing is very effective necessarily.
What warranted a swat on the ass, right? Because that's like that's the discipline. What were you doing to act out that?
Maybe talking back to my mom, or not listening. Just in general, like go take out the trash. I don't want, I'm not something like that, or fighting with my siblings like way too much, and it's like, can we just all get along type thing, like just acting out of line. I think because we both had pretty domineering fathers, that like, I would probably say a healthy fear of them, but I think you can relate to this in that it was like, if your dad said come here, it wasn't like I'll be there in a minute. Right. It was you get there right now. Oh yeah.
Or else you're going to get your ass chewed out or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's funny because once we noticed that, we've seen it play out like in situations where it took me until, I don't know, were we 22 when we were sitting at the baseball game, and there were these people, there was like kind of a larger family. And I guess I say that because they were taking up a lot of space, maybe a little extra space. No, I'm not here to, whatever.
I'm picking up what you're
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
And they were like yelling at us because one of our buddies had gotten up to go, and they're yelling at us, "Hey, move down, we need more space." And like it took up to 22 years old for me to like finally have the confidence to be like, no, I'm not just gonna.
I remember that
because it was, and I was like that way with all people in public, like quote unquote authoritative figures, which were adults.
Yeah,
it's like if they tell me to do something, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know where the hell I was going with that rabbit hole.
I know what you're saying, man. Like I think and like talking about my dad, to go back on things, like I was never scared of him, of course, because he disciplined me the right way. It was just enough.
Right.
Like a lot of times my dad will be like, is there anything you'd change about the way I raised you kids and stuff? And dude, I really have nothing to say.
Wow.
I have nothing to say, man. And, but I think we just developed such a respect for our parents, I guess, or authority in general, teachers, stuff like that, that as you grow older and become a man, you have to realize now I'm a man and I need to speak up for myself. If someone's 15 years older than me, so someone's 40 or something like that. There's times I'm still like, this is still an elder to me, and I hold back on speaking up for myself. I think that's become a weakness because of that amount of respect. It's like kind of like a double-edged sword,
Yeah, that's right.
And I know we talked about that. I think going to a Cardinals game one time, and I think we've both tried to get better at it. But I remember that situation. It's just like, we're 25 now. It's like time to speak up and.
Yeah, and that's a journey to go through,
Yeah.
That's but I'm with you as far as like because what do you think is the unique by the way that our parents raised us, what do you think the unique characteristic is between us? Because you and I, like if we're out, like I think what it is a bullshit detector is one of the things that like we almost bond over.
Yeah.
When someone's saying how great they are at this thing or this thing.
Yeah.
And everyone, maybe they have a crowd, and everyone's like, "Wow, this guy's so cool." And we're like, "Okay, this guy."
Yeah, I got 100 bodies.
I got a 9-incher.
Yeah, I drank 25 shots tonight.
But yeah, so in any case, but okay, so you growing up, what would you say that like the greatest lesson that your father gave you was, and what's the greatest lesson that your mother gave you was?
Dude, greatest lesson my father gave, or my dad, I call him my dad. Father, could you? No. Is, dude, definitely just, and not to toot my own horn. I know you've talked about this about me, which I take pride in, is definitely just being able to like laugh about your insecurities and stuff,
Right.
Like it's not that deep. That shit can really fucking drag you down if you let it, So you might as well just laugh about it, own it, and, he used to, like, one of the greatest lessons he ever told me was just, you can't worry about the things you can't change. He'd say that all the time. And I was like, seeing him do it, my brother is like, okay, if I can't change this, might as well just laugh at it, embrace it, And, a lot of you viewers from our dating show we used to do might know I got the small. I got the small on me. And once I started laughing about the small, dude, I was just like, everyone knows it. Everyone like at this point, I'm almost proud of it.
Dude, that's right. I know I don't want to pump your tires up too much or suck the small too much, but but that, like, I've got these friends in my life that are just like total inflection points into like that totally changes the course of my entire life, and I'm glad that we get to say this on the podcast if we haven't before. But one of my inflection points was when you and I reconnected after high school, because we didn't hang out at all through high school. We reconnected in college, and then you changed my life in that lesson right there of push your insecurities out to the world.
Yeah.
Let them see it. Because it takes away all the power of it.
Yeah.
It takes away the entirety.
8 Mile.
That 8 Mile. That's that 8 Mile Eminem rap. It's
it
exactly
is
what it is. And so I go through the world embarrassed by so much less now because of you. I mean, really, really because of you.
Well, thanks, man. Dude, it's so like a perfect example of this. I don't know if you've noticed this at like parties or family functions or whatever. If someone has to take a poop, okay, everyone knows. Everyone knows, like, at least for me, like maybe I'm just a little weird, but I can sense. When someone goes in the bathroom, I kind of think about like how long they've been in there a little bit. And when they walk out all awkwardly and like they did it. So, dude, why not beforehand just like make a joke, be like, hey, I gotta go take a dump real quick. Like, just no one go in there after me. Like, give it a couple minutes, And then at that point, you walk out, and it's like you set up the perfect punchline. The eyes are on you when you walk out. It's like, now I can kill a punchline, and like the awkwardness is not there. It's like if you go in there and don't say anything, and you walk out and like don't say anything, then it's like
that tension is in the air and it's
For
there
some
forever.
reason,
Yeah.
a poop creates tension, man. Poop creates tension.
That's gonna be the title of this episode.
And you can break
Poop
the tension
creates
right
tension.
away. And that's a lot of other things in life too. I can't think of like
That's
a
right.
deeper, topic or whatever or situation, but yeah, dude, I don't know, man. You just got to break the tension before it gets too tense.
Yeah, first few times having sex or whatever, you just end it with, well, that was quick.
Yeah. You address the quickness.
Yeah, address it. If you address it, it's I think it's Carl Jung is a psychologist, and he talks about like the things that go unaddressed build up into our minds to such a high degree that they feel way bigger than they are. But so on the topic of like embarrassment, I know that maybe like a really big part of your childhood and even into high school, if you don't mind going here, but
I don't. I don't anymore.
Yeah. Is that you pooped a lot? No.
right.
Is you got diagnosed with? Did you get diagnosed with diabetes?
Yeah.
Was it third grade?
Yeah.
How was that? 8 years old?
Yeah.
So what? Can you maybe walk me through like what happened when you got diagnosed with that and how did that feel?
Yeah, just kind of funny, quick story. Can we shout out names on this or no? So yeah, third grade teacher, Miss Weesey, great, one of my best teachers I ever had in my life. I started like when you first become diabetic, you have a high blood sugar, it makes you pee all the time. We were just talking about this, but so I was asking to go to the bathroom like all the time, and I was kind of a class clown at that point. So she was like, eventually she was like, kind of like saying no, not a shot on her, but like I was like, I really have to go. I really have to go. So I knew something was wrong because I was pissing like every 30 minutes probably. And I was at home, my parents were like realizing it and stuff. And eventually we just went to the doctor or whatever. And my mom got me out of school, so I was really excited to get out of school. And then my doctor just hit me with the news with my mom. He's like, yeah, your son's got like juvenile diabetes or whatever. And the whole time my mom said we could go to Chris's Pancake House afterwards. So I'm like, I'm going to get a ton of syrup on my pancakes. I'm going to drink a big orange juice, stuff like that. And then afterwards, my mom's like, yeah, you can't have that now.
Oh, no.
She didn't say that, but it was more just like,
yeah.
like we got to, and imagine a parent too, not knowing anything about it. Like I think about that a lot, like the stress they probably went through. Because I didn't, at third grade, like they controlled it for me. Like I didn't think about any of this shit. But anyway, dude, I think that's probably what made me mature quickly is just like now I have to think about every second of the day, like how I feel. And like if your blood sugar goes too low, you can pass out. If it's too high, it starts long-term effects and stuff like that. So a lot of people have it. So it's not the why me thing. It's probably something like, it's tough on a kid just because out of nowhere now you just have to think about like, what am I eating? Like, did I take my shot on time? Could I pass out at recess? Whatever, have like a seizure, stuff like that. But anyway, dude, I think as I've grown older, it's been a blessing in disguise because I think if I never had it, I think I would have been an absolute fucking piece of shit, to be honest. Like, I think I would have got wrapped up in a lot of the more party life than I've already done, like doing drugs and shit.
Yeah, neither of us have ever done coke, for instance,
no,
right? Yeah,
never have. And a big reason is just because I just don't know how it's going to affect my body. You know, I'll probably do some tonight, actually. But no, as far as the embarrassment goes, dude, I was just so embarrassed of like having like that being kind of my title, now like, oh, Jack, like everyone's talking about it, like, Jack's this kid's diabetic now.
Did you feel like a separation from the rest of the class because of that?
Yeah, and I just felt like I didn't want, believe it or not, I did not want all the attention, which is kind of weird to think. But dude, I used to, when like people would like ask me about it, like I used to cry and shit because I was just so like embarrassed of having this disease.
So was it people making fun of you for it, or was it them just simply bringing it up was enough to elicit those emotions? I
mean, it was just bringing it up. I definitely got made fun of for having it and shit. But as a kid, you just don't realize that that's just toughening you up.
Yeah.
But no, it was even more than getting like made fun of about it. It was, dude, like someone would be like, hey, like, can you eat this Skittle or something like that? And I'd be like, I wanted to avoid it. Like I hated the word diabetes. It was just a weird fucking time, man. And that took me into,
you even hated the word.
Huh. Dude, in high school, I used to like go do my shot privately. Like I wouldn't do it in front of people. Like I hid for 4 years. Dude, my mom at St. Gabe's grade school, my mom every day, I know we talked about this, but would drive up to work or to school every day from 3rd grade to 8th grade just to like give me or show, like I knew how to take my shot, but it was more just kind of like I'm gonna comfort him kind of thing because this kid can't handle the heat, you know. But yeah, like after graduating high school, I think I had 2 friends that even knew I had it, which is wild. And there's some friends today that now that I'm open about it and don't really give a fuck, like I'll bring it up to like a friend. Like recently I was on a car ride back from the Ozarks and I was just bullshitting and talking with this kid. And I was like, yeah, you know, diabetes, you know, I don't know if it's going to affect the wiener and shit like that. And he was like, you're diabetic? And I was like, yeah. He's like, how long you had it, man? Did you just get it? And I was like, no, dude, I've had it since I was like 8. And it's just weird that I hid it for that long, you know?
Did most people not know about it in high school, or because I thought maybe like there were some people that maybe found out in high school that would just treat you like shit for it.
I think initially I might have tried to talk to a few people about it, and then it's like, then you just kind of start hearing some jokes and shit.
Right. And then you want to just close up and conceal it.
And it's like night, or it's like just busting your balls jokes.
Totally.
You know?
But they don't realize how
sensitive
it is. Yeah, you are to that, right?
Which it shouldn't have been. And now, like, you know, like me and you are just maybe growing up. Like, you'll never make jokes about it, probably. Just because that actually real quick. But it's just like now I wish people did fuck with me about it because it kind of makes me closer to people, and also allows me to kind of go back at people a little bit. But yeah, dude, I was just very just sensitive and immature, and it was just like I couldn't take it, man. I think maybe telling a few people and hearing some very light jokes, it just made me be like, I'm not showing anybody this.
Right.
But
right. And to some degree that's, you know, maybe I'm reaching here, but to some degree that's your superpower now, because now I imagine some of the lessons that your dad had taught you, and then coupled with that, turned you into, fuck it, I'll reveal everything now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it was so close to the heart that it's so heavy.
Yeah.
That, you know, once you have that freedom, now that you've discovered that, of accepting things that would be embarrassing to other people, you've reached a different level of confidence and openness.
It is kind of interesting. So the reason I opened up was my first girlfriend I ever had, who you know, she was actually the one, like, that was who made me comfortable about having it. She used to like want to see me like take my shots in front of her and shit.
Oh yeah.
And she, dude, like honestly, God bless that girl, because she kind of was really the one who made me like open about it. But I did the stats the other day, and in my life I've taken over 35,000 shots.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, it's kind of crazy.
Wow. So what? Yeah, go ahead.
And anyway, still, like, you know, you want to have a good physique and stuff like that, but I only take them in my stomach. So I have like just like a permanent little bit of swelling, like at the bottom part of my stomach. And
you got the pooch.
And yeah, it's like a little pooch. And dude, sometimes I'll like, you know, you want to have the physique and shit. Sometimes I'll pull my pants up a little bit higher than that swelling, and dude, my physique looks so much more complete. So I'm always like, fuck, man, I wish I spread out the shots.
Where can you
put the shots in the Johnson?
If you were thinking 4D chest, you would have been putting it there at the beginning. So where can you put them? Can you just take shots and put them anywhere?
You can go in your the core spots are kind of your tricep area, stomach, outer part of the thigh, and then your butt.
Gotcha. Okay.
So when I was a kid, my parents would give me shots in my ass, and that was always. I mean, it did. Honestly, I'm just that close to my parents. It really didn't bother me. You know, maybe pass a little gas right when they insert. But no, now I'm just stomach guy. It's just real convenient. You know,
that's nice.
Supposedly you can do it through your shirt, but I'm not really gonna try that.
Really?
Yeah.
Why aren't you gonna try it?
Yeah, it just, I mean, all
seems odd. Yeah, right.
Yeah, all you gotta do. I mean, you really
who tested
really
that? Yeah. Who the hell's testing that? But anyway, cool. Well, that's it, man. No. Cool. So okay. So then, because we were both exceptional athletes. Might be a bit of a stretch, but we were good athletes.
Yeah.
Did you think that built up confidence in your life and
being athletic?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because you're you know, I'm gonna toot your horn. I'm gonna toot your pooch here. You're a Golden Gloves boxer, right?
Yeah.
I know you're a pretty humble guy. You don't want to brag about it, but tell me about that. You started boxing fifth grade?
Probably. Well, I went to the gym a couple of times in grade school and probably just told everyone I was a fucking prize fighter. You know. I remember I had the Ryan's boxing sweatshirt made up. And, Marty Stelzer always talks about that, but I had a Ryan's boxing custom-made sweatshirt. Never been to a gym in my life, and I was telling everyone, I was like, yeah, I compete and shit. But I think I went to first time ever going to a boxing gym. I went to South Broadway Athletic Club. My Uncle Tim, fought for a long time, so he got me into it. And then I didn't really start actually going to the gym and like sparring and stuff till I was a sophomore in high school. So I was probably 14 or 15 or something like that. And dude, that was by far the biggest confidence builder in my life, because I was kind of getting fucked with in high school and stuff. And granted, people have, like the whole Bradley Martin debate, like, because I knew how to box, could I really fuck up a kid who's like 180 when I'm 120? Probably not. But it still just made me think that, like, I don't know, it just made me like very disciplined, and then also just like I got a little confidence with the small hands, But yeah, dude, that was by far the most disciplined I've ever been in my life.
What did boxing teach you? And what was the road to Golden Gloves?
Dude, it was, first of all, I guess you can say this on camera, but I've fought out of an all black gym in North County. So growing up in an all white neighborhood, it was just like I had no understanding of how to interact with like other races and stuff like that, because there's a little
cultures.
There can be other cultures. My bad.
All right, we're fucked.
We're canceled. Let's just go all out now. But yeah, no, just being around these guys, it really made me realize that like everybody's kind of the same. Like maybe there's different lingo, maybe there's a little different like sense of humor at times. But everyone, dude, there was some white boy, remarks and shit like that, but it was never out of hate. It was just like these guys respected that I just showed up to the gym, worked hard, and like was still willing to talk about the fight game and shit like that. And yeah, dude, I feel like I was pretty tough. Like I feel like I could take a punch and stuff like that. So I think that also kind of gave me some respect. But more than anything, it was definitely just like the concept of just like having goals, which later in my life we might be able to go into that, but past 3-4 years, dude, is definitely the least disciplined I've ever been.
We can go there. And
yeah, just thinking about like having a goal of like a fight, like you have an opponent, you have someone to work against. Dude, by far, yeah, the most disciplined and like most confidence boosting thing I've ever done in my life.
So what do you think that it was as with figuring out like, okay, interacting with a different culture, and everyone's pretty much the same. What about them makes, everyone the same?
Dude, I think it wraps up, and you're good about this stuff too, man. It's just like some people can be scared of like the unknown when it comes to, they just don't have a lot of experience around other cultures, or some people can also like force it too much, like doing like the code switch type of shit.
I thought it was, I think we had this argument. I thought it was cold switch.
Cold switch?
But no, I think you're right. It's code switch, right?
What was it?
Yeah. Cold.
No, you're right. All right. Haven't heard that in a while. But anyway, dude, I think just people respect us or like us because we're pretty genuine to ourselves, And then also just like what I was talking about with my dad, dude, when you can humble yourself in front of a crowd right away, then that you let your guard down. And some people are going to capitalize on that, which I've definitely been the victim of. But I just think when you let your guard down and just show people like I'm open, I'm excited, like I'm looking forward to just having a conversation or just being like a team or whatever. That's just what I learned, man, is like everyone's an individual. You're going to have dicks that are white, black, Pacific Islander. You're going to have dicks of all different shapes and sizes. But at the end of the day, man, it's just like, dude, good people get along with good people.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to kind of be the catalyst. Sometimes you have to be like the guy who sets that tone, but I think most people respect that, and most people are willing to like just talk to someone who's openly kind or like just open. You
mentioned that you've been a victim of that at times, of like people taking advantage of that openness. What did that look like?
I think it's also just I'm too nice. I think that's probably like what I'm really trying to say is I'm just too nice, man. Like at a bar or something like that, you get like people call you like a pussy or bump into you or whatever. And I don't really like confrontation really, which is a weakness of mine, but I just don't see the point in like being the tough guy, I guess. So I think I'll just try to joke things off and be like, hey, and then some people just don't want to do that. Some people just have bad intentions right off the jump. And I just don't find the benefit in like being mean to people. And I need to find a little bit of meanness, I guess, at times, but I think I'm just so nice, man. That's really what it is.
Clip that.
Yeah, I think I'm just like I'm just too nice.
Yeah, and I think the way that you're phrasing that is interesting, but like sometimes you need to be mean to people. I think that's I think that's also a Carl Jung thing. I'm trying to like fucking flex my I only know like Carl 2 lines. Jung. I only know like 2 lines of his. Yeah, I say Jung instead of Young.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's integrating the shadow, and it's this is what Jordan Peterson talks about a lot too, is like, you are not a virtuous man because, and I'm not saying that this is you to a degree, but,
yeah. I don't even know what virtuous means, to be honest.
But someone that does good things for, that's the very baseline. But you're not a good man because you're too afraid to do the bad thing. You're not a good man because you're not doing the bad thing, if that is because you're too afraid to do it. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand.
And so, when you say introducing your meanness, it's really like introducing boundaries and standards that if someone crosses this boundary, either I'm removing myself from the situation or I will confront it.
Yeah. And gas you up a little bit, man. That's something that maybe the past 2 or 3 years that I've really taken from you, and I try to get better at it, but it's just standing your ground and like really being like standing on your beliefs, because like I would be someone, I'm trying to get better at this, but talking about being nice or whatever. Let's say, I'll say this on camera. I really don't give a fuck. I'm pro-life.
Okay.
I'm pro-life. If I was around a group of people and people were like, oh, so you like hate women, like and then I'd probably start to side with them, and to where I'm not showing them that I actually have a stance on this. And I think you are respectful to everybody, and you're really good at having a dialogue on conflicting arguments. But dude, like that's a note I took out of your book, man. It's just like, who are you if you have nothing to stand on? I think there's like an old Lincoln quote or something like that, right? Carl Jung. There's a Carl
Jung quote about that.
But again, just the concept of like thinking about our dads being a man. It's like I'm gonna stand on my beliefs, regardless of what people say, and I'll still be respectful and try not to let anger or whatever get the best of me.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, I was just so like, I want everyone to get along kind of thing, or I want to be liked, that I was not willing to speak my own opinion on certain topics or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're really good at that, man, where you have a great way of saying it. You're also just, you're just good. This is going to sound bad. You're good at, I don't want to say arguing, but you're good at like, it's not arguing. There's a better word for it, but you're really good at not getting personal at all and conflicting opinions.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Debate or whatever it is.
Yeah. I think I think I could definitely get better at it, but there's a point where it's you have to disassociate yourself from your views to some degree. I think a lot of people intertwine their beliefs with their identity. Yeah. And so if you were saying that you believe in pro-life, right? And I say, no, I believe in pro-choice. This is just a scenario, kind of, but in any case, and I go, you should believe in pro-life. It's almost like you're feeling me attacking Jack Ryan, not your belief. And what people are so bad at is communicating. I am attacking your belief, not Jack Ryan.
Right.
And people can't go back and forth with that, and they struggle with that. So you have to like almost disassociate from, your identity from your beliefs.
Dude, and I've gotten so bad at that. Again, I always use the past 3 years of my life because just years I'm not proud of. But dude, I've gotten so bad at it to where I almost now, and I think I'm really going on the right path now, but I kind of don't even know what my beliefs are. Because I've had so many conversations with different people and tried to get along with them and like agree on things that there's times I'm like, man, what do I even believe in? Or who, like the sense of self kind of thing. Like, dude, like
I think Carl Jung.
I think it was like Carl Jung. Talking really loud in this mic. I don't know, but and then like sounds deep, sounds cliche, but just kind of like didn't even know who I was.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me, I think I'm really starting to figure that out now, like the past 2-3 months, now that I'm working hard and stuff. But dude, it was like I didn't know if I was like just a jokester and like not allowed to show a serious side. Like, who do people want me to be? That's who I'm going to be, because I was so worried about other people's opinions. Funny enough, I was probably worried about people thinking that I was a guy who didn't care about what people thought of me. If that makes any sense? That I tried so hard to look like the guy that people that you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I know what you're saying.
That became like who I was, to where I was like always trying to like, because it's cool for people to think this guy doesn't care what people think about him. So I tried so hard.
And that's
to be that
you
guy.
caring about
Yeah.
them in a weird way. That's you caring about what they think about you.
And
that's
I realized within the past couple of months, man, I was like, I care so much about what people think of me.
Man,
I really do. And I was like, and it's very tough to get out of that.
Yeah, that
like,
damn.
Just walking around and like being like, dude, a lot of times when I'm walking around, I'm like, I think about like how I walk and shit. Like, what am I doing? Like, on my hands in my pocket. Oh fuck, they don't like. Does that look weird? That I'm. It's bad, man. It's
dude.
Bad.
I think this is another thing. I've gone through similar things, and this is the thing that connects us. But I was getting goosebumps there of like, what a amazing thing to figure out. I mean, truly, like probably an inflection point in your life is these past couple of months. But what would you say your beliefs are? Like, what are you finding?
Now, I will, after what I just said, I will say I'm not a huge like. I don't really want to go in like politics type stuff, because I think that's like generally what people think when they hear beliefs right away.
Right. No.
It's
But if,
politics.
let's say if people would disagree with you, for instance, like a belief of mine might be if someone says something that is immoral, for instance, I stand against it. Right.
Yeah.
That might be a value of mine, whatever. But or confront it. But yeah. So not politics, but
I guess, and this could be off. I hope this person doesn't see this podcast, because I don't really know them. But this past weekend, okay, I'm hanging out with some people, and I buy a pizza, okay, and there's this girl who hopefully doesn't see this. If she does, then maybe we can reconvene and get along or whatever. But I buy this pizza, and I think it's unsaid that I'm willing to share this pizza. I think it's just like everyone's drunk. There's 4 of us. I think it's just known that I'm willing to share this pie. And I take the first slice, nice pepperoni New York slice, and I fold it and I take a couple bites out of it and I set it back down in the box. There's 7 other slices there. This girl takes, without asking, without anything, takes the slice that I already bit off and just starts munching on it. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And then I'm like, I do the whole like to these other 2 people, I'm like, help yourself, guys, please. This is what's mine is yours kind of thing. And then after she eats my slice, she grabs another one, doesn't say anything. They're both saying thank you, like, oh, this is a great pizza, She grabs another slice and starts complaining about the pizza without ever saying thank you or anything. So I kind of lost my shit. I guess to go full circle here, I guess a belief of mine would be just like having manners. I guess, if that's a belief. But I just think you never get, as a kid, you're taught please and thank you. And so I just feel like that's never, and dude, me and you were probably guys that like, if you gave me like a free beer or something, or if you gave me like a beer or whatever, I'd probably be like, hey, thanks, man. Like that, like, and maybe some guys like, you don't got to say thanks, but like me and you were just guys that like, I think manners just are always necessary.
Yep. Ever present. Yeah.
Like, and then like some people might be like, oh, that's gay. You said thank you. I'm gonna be like, no, that's just what I do. It's what I do, man.
There's a couple things you said in there. Like there are 2 things that I've always really admired about you. And I think, you have that goofball persona. And so I don't think a lot of people see that, but just what you're saying about figuring out, I care a lot about what people think of me.
Yeah.
Like these are reflections that I've seen in you that I don't think a lot of people have seen. And so I think you're a very thoughtful person. This is just going to be a dick sucking contest. This whole,
I know. You're winning.
Yeah. Say some nice things about me now. But I've definitely admired that about you. And there was one other thing in there that I'm forgetting.
Can I throw something out there real quick? Dude, I definitely like, this is just a good conversation. I want to have like, clickbait worthy stuff, but it is not like, I might not be that guy today, but
that's okay.
Dude, no, you're definitely like, I try to have deep conversations. Like there was one relationship I was in where like I just wasn't, or actually quite a few. There's like, man, I just, you can't get deep. And I was like, well, take that as you wish, I guess. But but dude, like I've always like tried to force deep conversations, and I just don't think I'm good at it. Maybe it's like I'm just not good at self-reflecting or something like that.
But you are, yeah. But you are.
But I am when I'm around you, and I wonder like what allows like us to have conversations that are like that.
You know what? There's this thing called quick matching. I'm not sure if you saw one of my.
I did. You have to remind me what. Oh, is it you're always immediately or instead of like having them dive deeper, kind of, it's like you're always like giving your opinion, right?
Right. And I think and right. And so I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think in the broader sense of things, I think a lot of people do that or don't know how to make conversations cohesive. And so, people just don't give you the space to further, open up, and people just don't ask questions. Like I think that's just something that's lost.
But it's still like, I know there's techniques and stuff like that. Maybe it's just, dude, maybe flat out, maybe some people I just don't want to have those conversations with,
yeah, totally.
And like, I think I really value childhood friendships a lot too. And I think maybe us just like growing up together and we have a lot of things we can talk about.
Yeah.
Or a lot of stuff we can analyze or whatever.
And a lot of context into each other's lives. Right.
Because, dude, we have definitely seen each other grow for sure. And that's why, anyway, dude, it feels good just hanging out yesterday and today because I feel like I'm definitely just, you may sense like a different energy coming from me, man. Like I really do. This is like the smartest I've ever felt. And then close to the happiest. Man. So it's just like, because me and you had some weird encounters for a while, and I'd take full blame on it, man. Because when you're drinking 4 or 5 nights a week, getting hammered, that's when you really lose your sense of self, and like you're real selfish, and like you don't really value like other people's time or like, because you're just always worried about like, man, I got to get back to that stage, man. I got to get fucked up again or whatever. And I think there's like science about like your baseline dopamine is so high. So like once you're sober, it's like you just can't fucking get to that point. So you're just always depressed and shit. But anyway, dude, I'm definitely just at a phase now. I'm like, of course I'm gonna drink like on the weekends or whatever.
Yep.
But I have a goal now. I have like a steady fucking thing to work towards, and constantly like I'm learning all the time. And dude, for a while, man, I actually thought I was dumb. And over that stretch of 3 years, I got fucked with a lot for being dumb. Another word for it. But like people that aren't good friends would like really fucking ridicule me. And it was joking around, but it was like, okay, these are okay. And then I just like take it on the chin and go right back to them. But there was definitely an impact when I was by myself. I was like, man, I might actually be fucking dumb. So now working this job, I'm like, it feels good to learn and like know stuff that a lot of people don't. And feel like I actually have like I'm a man of value now, a valuable person. And
in those times of drinking a lot and being in that, going out culture, you didn't know what value you had to provide.
No, I had nothing, dude. I went through, this, man. I went through probably in 3 years, dude. I probably went through like close to 10 jobs. I mean, that's pretty. I might have set the record there, man. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. It's just because you just don't. All I was just like the party guy who was always fucked up, stumbling around, like slurring his speech, cracking jokes. Like still, people were laughing at me. And one of my friends told me that, kind of messing with me, but it definitely made me, it stayed with me. He's like, yeah, dude. He's like, people are laughing at you now. And I was like, oh shit. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was like, damn, because I know a few people that get laughed at, and you never want to be that guy, So I was like, fuck.
And is that a big change? Like even just realizing that was a big change in how you act now?
Dude, I think the only thing that changed me really is getting this job. I think I realized all that stuff, but I think just having this job.
Yeah. So the last couple of 2 or 3 months, you said you're the happiest you've ever been, which is so fucking amazing to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, dude, that is really, really good to hear.
Yeah.
So what's going on? Like, how did you get into this job? What changed? So we talked about the changes a little bit. This job has changed you. How has it changed you? What is it?
Dude, it's just showing up every day. Like I haven't been late or missed a day of work in 3 months, which is normal to most people. But like I had a job, dude. I missed like my 4th day or something. It was just normal for me just not to show up, just be a lazy piece of shit. And now I just really take pride in my work ethic. And then I work for the same company my dad works for now, and he told me, dude, he gave me a talk beforehand. I got fired from another place as I was trying to get this job. And he goes, and like when I told him I got fired, he's like, how do you expect this place to hire you hearing you just got fired? And I was like, I don't fucking know. Like I was like, I don't care. Like, if I don't want to, I don't need this job. Like I was saying that because I was just such like, fuck everybody. Like I'll do it on my own, even though I had no plan to do it on my own. Somehow, some way I got lucky. I got this job, union sheet metal worker. And now it's just, anyway, so he told me, he goes, you're getting old, or you're 25 now. You can't keep using that I'm young thing. Like I'm drinking, I'm partying, I'm young, I'm missing work, I'm in between jobs. He's like, now you're 25. The past 3-4 years of my life, I forgot more than I could. I was incoherent more than I was coherent, probably. So I forgot so much of the last 3-4 years. It literally felt like a fucking blur. And then I'm like, now I'm 25. People are getting married, Luckily enough, I'm still able to be on my parents' insurance, right? Because with the insulin and stuff, it's like
that's
if
right.
Once I'm off of that, I'm fucked.
Yep.
If I don't have a good fucking steady job with benefits and shit like that. So I was like, I got to do something. But anyway, he just told me, he's like, we've had this talk so many times. He's like, once I found out I got the job, he's like, take the fact that I work here now too, or I work here, my dad. He's like, now you got a last name that you got to fucking keep pride in. He's like, because what you do, we have the same last name. He's like, you got to take pride in that last name, and you haven't been for a while now. He's like, it's time, man. He's like, I can't keep having this conversation with you. So I wrote on this whiteboard in my room. I wake up, I look at it every day. It says, take pride in your name. And dude, like now, dude, like I'm such a good worker. I get my union report every month, and like my this guy I work with, I guess you could say like my foreman or whatever, superintendent. He writes a little review, dude, and he gasses me. He gasses me up.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's like willing to learn, shows up on time every day, asks questions, keeps a high energy, And I know my dad hears about that.
Yep.
So it's just like the fact that for the first time in a long time, I'm like, I have a good reputation. And like I just don't see myself going back, man, because this feeling is way better than any sort of getting drunk because it's all temporary. This is permanent.
That's right.
And it feels great, man.
Man, that's fucking amazing.
And then last thing too.
Please.
This is your podcast.
No, this is for you.
And then also, so I talked to you guys about this at the gym. For some reason, I've felt like kind of awkward in social settings lately still for some reason. I think it's because I used to bartend and stuff, so I was always talking to people. I was really good at talking to people. Now I feel a little awkward at like outside social settings, but I'm so comfortable when I'm at home or when I'm over at my parents' house and stuff. I'm so comfortable now. And there was a time I was like, man, I felt like an outcast at home, but I could talk to people that didn't care about me. And it was just because I was just a piece of shit. Like
so
I didn't
explain
value
that. Yeah. Why do you think that was?
Dude, I think it's one, I just wasn't spending enough time with them, so I was missing out on stuff. So, like when you're with your family, you're always talking about like what's going on, reminiscing, old stories, stuff like that, or like little things that occur throughout the week. And I was just out. I was on the outskirts, and I just felt like left out, even though it was my fault to put myself in that situation. And then now I hang out with my family. I go over to my parents' house like 3-4 times a week, and it's just chopping it up, like having a great time. And honestly, the fact that I feel as though I don't have as many friends outside of my family. At first, I was like, man, I'm lonely. Like, I need friends in life and stuff like that. But just to have that fucking connection at home for people who really care about you, which is something you've talked about, like through like some fake friends and stuff that we have both been around. It's like, dude, that just has so much more depth to have to be close to the people that love you.
That's right. It's a whole room of people that'll wait for you to tie your shoe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it feels good. Things feel good right now.
Man, I'm so happy. I mean, genuinely. But okay, so in those 2 to 3 years, you said you don't remember most.
Yeah. Like
what was going on there to some degree? I mean, you don't have to go into full detail, but like,
just
what do you think? Maybe a better question is like, what do you think you missed?
I definitely missed getting this job earlier because I'd be making a lot more money. But still got in. And then luckily my family's so good to me. It was like they, brought me back in with open arms, I guess I could say. I think our relationship definitely took a little bit of a hit. And again, dude, you were always there for me and stuff, but eventually if a guy's going to keep saying he's going to change and not change, it's like you can only fucking talk to a guy so many times and listen to lies and shit and all that. And it's like someone so close to me too, But that's probably I guess that's the big thing I could take out of that, was I was just not a good person, not true to my word kind of thing, which is something me and you value. And yeah, I mean, that's probably the big thing. And maybe invested way too much time in people that didn't care about me. Blew way too much money. A lot of money. Dude, I was looking at the past 3 years. I know I might have talked to you about this, but I was looking at my bank statement before I moved out. Dude, I was spending $1,000 a month on drinking and shit.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, that is not good, man. Wish I would have done something more with that money, like maybe like fucking saved up and bought a pickup truck or some shit. But
there was definitely there was definitely a time where like I was definitely hurt by that, but I think it really, on my end, it required some perspective as to know what you were going through, and knowing that, having the confidence that I wrongly did not see in you, and I did not have the confidence in you changing out of that, but knowing that when you come out of that, you and me are going to be fucking back at it, because there is no connection, I think, that I have with anyone else other than, you.
Appreciate it. Likewise, brother. Likewise.
Yeah.
And of course, I know you're a very disciplined guy, and I know you'll turn one loose every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I still like getting fucked up.
Oh yeah.
And that's still going to happen. That's still going to happen. By the grace of God, I will get fucked up once a weekend at least. But I think it's, again, that's not really the problem that was between us, because me and you have fun. It was just definitely like, again, having no upward, upward growth or anything like that, and like, I've hung out with some fucking people that have no goals or anything. And, like the old phrase goes, you are like the people you hang around. And, dude, I was saying this the other day, like, if I thought about my daughter marrying me, or
I know what you're saying.
That version of myself right now, I think I'd probably still say no right now. But in that stage, dude, I'd be so fucking pissed to see me walk to the door. I would have walked to the door still, but I would be so fucking. I'd be like, what are you doing with this guy? Like, what do you see in this guy? And I would have fucking hated that, to see my daughter with a guy like who I was, man.
Wow.
Yeah. But real quick, so I'm going to try to gas you up a little more. Another thing that you taught me, this goes back to what my dad said too, was me and you were sitting at this place one time. I'm not going to say this, but you said you can't, or it's like the two things you can't worry about, the things you can change, the things you can't change, right? Because if you can't change them, don't worry about it. But if you can, just do it.
Yep.
And that was something too. I was so worried about. I was like, man, I'm not going anywhere, and like I'm not, like, why is my life so fucked up? And I just didn't look at like there's so many things I can do right now. Like if I wrote a list of like 5 things to do around the house, or like to go like talk to like a financial person and work and like learn about how to like budget and stuff like that or whatever, like I could do these things and it would put me at ease, but I just wasn't doing it, And that was a great little quote there. I don't know who said that quote.
I think gotta keep pulling that string. I think it's like Aristotle or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, can we talk about you for a second, or is this
okay? Yeah, you can talk about.
So
me.
how do you feel about your life right now?
I'm feeling good about life right now. It's we I picked something and I want to stick to it, and it feels like I could go at this forever, and I'm definitely figuring out how to be even more disciplined. And like, okay, I've got an employee now, and they're relying on me, and I think the biggest weakness in my life right now is my romantic life. So I'm afraid to get into a relationship, and I don't know why. A commitment, and well, maybe not even I'm afraid of being betrayed. And so I think if I even notice a hint of that, I disassociate. Yeah. And just say, whatever, like I'll find it later or whatever it is. And that's just such an unhealthy way to look at that. So I'm afraid of being alone, all of this shit. But other than, all of the right things are happening in place. So,
well, dude, you've made yourself just such like a good guy, or like a good guy with things lined up and stuff like that. And you're good at talking to people, of course. So like, of course you got to put yourself out there, but dude, you'll find a good one, man. Like when you really pursue, or like you really start, like, you're like, now's the time. You're a guy that I'm like, there's no chance he winds up with some of the ones I've been with, So I mean, I think even though you worry about it, you probably still have a little bit of confidence as far as that goes, I would think.
Yeah, maybe if I'm future casting of like the person that I can become, will be capable of having these relationships. The person I am now is afraid of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of boyfriend do you think you'd be?
What kind of boyfriend?
Yeah. Like what do you think? Like what's your what kind of guy?
Probably talking a little shit. Being a little goofy. But I don't want to just be some simp. That like. Yeah. But I'll also hold the door open for her, get her flowers, whatever. I want to be a gentleman, but not like a pushover. And I think there's like a very close line to be in that. But I want to be a fucking man.
Yeah, you are, man.
I want to be the guy that, like, my wife. I think I saw John Mayer on a podcast actually saying this. Like, man, how cool would it be if my wife is in some difficult situation elsewhere, and she's talking with someone, and she's like, I need to call John because because he'll know what to do.
Yeah.
I really like that. I mean, that's part of being a man, I think, is knowing that you can handle any situation that's put in front of you.
Yeah. The cool thing is too, is maybe this is 2 years ago, something like that, but just watching you reinvent yourself. I saw it, again, I wasn't like we were hanging out, but I wasn't like too involved in what you were doing. And there's probably times like, why is he not going out and stuff like that? Cause that's what I was doing. But, dude, totally saw you reinvent yourself, man. And we're still young, and I think we'll always see the kid in each other. But dude, you're definitely a man. You're definitely a man, dude. You're a guy that's just trustworthy, and like I said, stands on your beliefs and stuff. You'll find a good one for sure, man.
I appreciate that.
Hopefully, we can go on a double date eventually.
Man,
I find some
dude, that's it. We gotta have kids at the same time, for real.
Yeah.
You want a lot of kids?
Probably 4.
4?
Yeah.
Cutting off at 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like double, or I'd like even. I like even. I don't want anybody being left out. But
interesting.
Yeah, probably 4. Dude, I just think nowadays with this economy, I just think it's tough. It's probably tough to raise more than that. But this guy I work with has got 5 kids. He seems to be doing all right.
Yeah, man. It's I'm so fucking blessed to have you in my life, and what we've gone through and what we're going to continue to go through together. I'm really fucking excited, and I respect what you're doing as far as life goes, but as far as work specifically, I mean, the trades are such a fucking underappreciated craft and job that, I mean, like, if we didn't have you guys, we'd be fucked. So,
appreciate it, man.
Appreciate the fuck out of you.
Yeah, likewise, brother. Good to be back, man.
It's good to be back. Love you, man.
Yeah, love you.
I love you, Jack.
Love you, man.